Hello, everyone. Welcome from whenever you're tuning in from. This is going to be a short webinar about completing the CSS profile or the ISFAA, the financial aid documents required for your as part of your application process. My name is Juliano Richeta. I am an Opportunity Funds student from the 2020 cohort. I am currently a freshman at Pomona College, and I have been part of the process, and I dealt with the financial aid documents. So we've made this small presentation with Education USA Argentina just to clear some doubts regarding the whole CSS profile and ISFAA documents and the applications and the whole the tricks behind it. So we hope it's helpful for you. It's helpful. So some difference between the CSS profile and the ISFAA. First of all, the ISFAA is an acronym that stands for International Student Financial Aid Application. Both are essential to your college application, but and both are administered by a college board. But the CSS profile is a website actually. You access the financial aid documents through a website. You just Google CSS profile and it will direct you to a website that's property of College Board. You have to create an account. You have to use the same account that you've used to sign up for the SATs or your APs in case you're taking those. Instead, for the ISFAA, you have to print sheets of paper and just have to complete it by hand. Then in the CSS profile, the currency you're going to use is the local currency. So in the case of Argentina, it would be pesos, pesos argentinos. You have the option to select that. Instead, in the ISFAA, you make the conversion yourself. So you choose the currency rate according to that day's currency values. Then the CSS profile is individualized, and you have to choose to which universities you're going to send that that document to. So so the same CSS profile will be sent automatically to all of the universities that you select. Instead, for the ISFAA, you have to send the documents to each university individually, either through email to the financial aid office or through a financial aid submission website. You'll have to check that individually with your university of choice. So some things about the CSS profile. Here's the link for the CSS profile website. As you can see, it is part of the College Board website. For this year and for all years, it opens on October 1st, 2021. In your case, it would be fall 2022 applications. So you have the option to select between fall 2022 and spring 2022. You should choose for fall because that's the first term that you're applying to. As I was saying, you can sign in with your College Board account, the same you use for your SATs, APs, or your Khan Academy account. You should already start gathering financial documents from 2020. So each year you're going to file the financial aid documents for the previous years. So since right now we are in 2021, you'll need all of the financial documents from 2020, not 2021 because the year is still not over, but from 2020, so last year. So this includes utilities, rent or mortgage payments, school expenses, transportations, credit card expenses, medical bills, etc. All of the financial documents that are useful in this for this application, all of those you should already start gathering them. Of course, this is completed in pesos argentinos, so please don't make a conversion by yourself because the CSS profile will make a conversion for you automatically. And then the cost, it's going to be $25 for your first university, and then it's going to be $16 for any additional universities that you send your profile to. So this is kind of like a big surprise because you must be wondering, well, if I'm applying for financial aid, why do I have to pay to send my financial documents? Well, there are some ways to skip around this payment. So many universities offer CSS fee waivers, which are codes that you can submit. We'll talk about those later, but you can also submit the International Student Financial Aid Application, which is the famous ISFAA, and that's the document that we're going to be talking about later in the presentation. So for the fee waivers, each university, like some universities offer these codes called fee waivers. you should request them either through the financial aid email from your university. You should just Google CSS fee waiver with the name of your college or searching the website. Or some universities will, for example, ask you to fill some forms or documents or ask for some other clarification before giving you the CSS fee waiver. Other universities will wait for you until you submit your Common App application, and then they will give you your fee waiver. But at the end of the day, it's just a code, and whenever you're ready to pay and to submit your CSS fee, there's an option for you to put a code in it, and you just copy and paste that code. Keep in mind that each code is individual to each university, so you cannot ask a random university for a code and then use, let's say, for example, you cannot ask, I don't know, Pomona College for a CSS fee waiver and then use it for Harvard University, because each code is given to an individual university, so you cannot mix or match the codes. You have to use them with the same university that gave you the code originally. So jumping to the International Student Financial Application, or ISFA, some universities will not give you a CSS fee waiver, but they will give you the option to fill out the International Student Financial Application. And this is great news, honestly, because I think that the huge benefit behind the ISFA is that you are allowed to make the conversion in dollars by yourself. So as I was mentioning earlier, the CSS profile automatically converts the local currency for you. So this can be problematic in some senses, especially in our country where we have many types of currency. We have taxes that only that they show up separately. So for example, we have the official dollar, but then we have the solidarity dollar, which is the official exchange plus the 30% and the 35% added taxes. So the CSS profile doesn't take these taxes into account. So this makes up for a very inconvenient currency rate that doesn't end up expressing the actual conversion rate. So if you have the option to fill the ISFA, go for it, honestly, because you get to choose your currency value. And this is not meant for you to try to jump over the system. You should still use a currency value that is actually real and that is not made up, because universities can still look up the currency values, but you just make clear that you're using the, for example, instead of I don't know, instead of using the 100 pesos official rate, you can use the 165 pesos solidarity rate, which is the price we end up paying for a single dollar. So, and then you can make that clear in the special circumstances section. But this is a great benefit of filling the ISFA, because you actually get to give a much more accurate image of your financial status as an applicant. So there's a link. There are plenty of links. I like to use this link because of course it's an outdated version of the ISFA, but you can look at how the ISFA looks like, and it's pretty similar to the CSS profile in the format of it. We'll go over that later, but it's a way in which you can just see how the CSS profile is structured and the different sections and different parts that basically make up the ISFA. So some insight on the CSS profile. This is an example. This is my own CSS profile that I'm using. So on the top right, we have it's the year 2021-22. That's when I was applying, because now that I'm a freshman, I'm going for the academic year 2021-22. So on top, below that, we have the College Board Financial Aid ID. You should keep this number because it's going to be really helpful whenever you have to submit a document or contact the financial aid department at university. Just like keep that in mind. That number is unique to you. Then we have, of course, like the basic names, just like name, email, phone number, date of birth, marital status, and the financial aid ID, which is the same one as the one that's on the top right. Then you have citizenship. Unless you have dual citizenship, that's going to be a whole different issue. But we're just going to go for the simple assumption that you are only citizens of Argentina. So you should just put like your citizenship status as other, your visa type as F1, which is the student visa, and then your country of citizenship and country where you live as Argentina. Then we have the current academic year. So for you, if you're in your last year of high school, that would be 12th grade. That would be that the equivalent to the US academic system. So if you're like in sixth year of high school or fifth year, depending on where you're tuning in from, you should still put 12th grade. Then for your high school name, you unless you go to an international school or to a school that is actually listed, most of the high schools in Argentina are not listed. So you just go for not listed. And then we have, if you go to a private high school, if you did receive scholarships or grants or funds, you should mention how much you got during the last year, during 2020, and how much you actually paid. So, for example, I went to a private high school, but I got a scholarship, so I put the amount of scholarship and the amount of money that I actually ended up paying. That's a useful fact for them. Then that's regarding my mother. She was the primary parent. She was the one who filled the CSS profile. So well, my mom was employed by others, so she put we tick that box. If your parents are self-employed or retired or have any like their own business, they should go for those categories. Then for the retirement plans, I think this is a very helpful. It's worth mentioning that our retirement system is not the same as theirs. So in the US, they have a different retirement system. I'm not gonna explain right now here. We just go for do not click anything, and then just in current value of retirement and saving plans and all of that, you just put it in 0 because our system is different. So same thing with taxes. Unless your parents are in a special tax status, you probably know that if you are, but most adults here, most employees do not file taxes in the same way that people in the US file taxes. So again, our tax system is different. So you should go for not file and not required to file a tax return. And then for that, then for non-US tax return, you're just gonna enter the amount of income that your parents got for 2020. So all of my examples are showing 2019 because I filed this last year, but for the current year, it should be 2020. So just add all of the income they got from the compensation from the employer. So that would be the wages they got from the employer throughout the year. And of course, then we have like net income from real estate, other investments, farms, all of that. If you have that, just put it in. We're just going to go for the simplest assumption, which was at least my case, which was only income from work solely. And then for the one section that says all taxes mandatory withholdings include income taxes, state taxes, local taxes, etc. I just put in what my mother had to pay as part of her, you know, the jubilación, which is like retirement, but in Spanish would be jubilación, obra social, my local taxes, which like specific taxes from my city that were applied to her paycheck. So, you know, if you go through your parents' paycheck, everything has to be there. The amount of money that is actually retained from them. So then if you have other members of your household who have income, you should also file that. Or if your parents, I don't know, receive an allowance or receive a pension, you should also add that. But if they don't, just leave it blank, because most of this is about leaving it blank until you actually need to file stuff. So for income benefits, again, we're just now gonna be talking about 2021 because it's the current year. So for example, we need to enter the amount of money your parents will receive throughout the year, the current year, so that will be 2021. this is like I believe this is a special case, because at least for my mom, her salary wasn't affected by COVID, but we understand, and universities understand, that there might be particular situations in which your family might have been affected by the pandemic and the economic crisis behind it. So if your parents' income has been affected by COVID, please make sure to let universities know about that, because in 2020, I don't know, a lot of things happen, and we're still in the middle of a pandemic, and we still are being affected by it. So if you have any special circumstances, just check yes, and you'll be given a space to at the special circumstances section to make that clear. If they expect changes, you should let them know. If your parents provided child support, that is not your own child support, but I don't know, other children, other households, again, you will know this is what is cuota alimentaria. So if your parents pay cuota alimentaria to other children, they should also know that. For parent housing, I put that I live in my own home, that it was that we are paying the mortgage. So that would be the monthly mortgage, the year of the purchase. And then for the price of the purchase, again, that's going to be how much your parents paid for it. But then for your current market value, you're gonna have to go through your impuesto de rentas. That's what it's called in Córdoba, at least. But you also have impuesto inmobiliario. So all of those taxes that you pay that are for your house, they usually have the value of your house, the market value, which is called. That's going to be underneath it, and that's going to be an amount of pesos. So you're going to make sure to enter that. Make sure to check those taxes, because they show the current market value, and they are actually certified by your government, your tax agency, whatever. Then for parents' assets, again, I mark none, but at below everything, I just file the amount in savings, in cash, like in my mom's checking and savings account in the bank. But yeah, again, this is, of course, if you have other assets, investments, you should put that too. So there are other expenses which are not reflected in the CSS, but you can actually add them if you like. So these are, for example, medical, dental expenses not covered by insurance. So for example, in my case, I had a braces treatment last year. So that would count as, and it wasn't covered by insurance. So that would count as external or extraordinary expenses for dental expenses. So I would add that. It's very rare that we in Argentina pay student debt or alimony, all of that. If you have extraordinary expenses that you want to make sure that they're in your CSS profile, you should just check one of those boxes. So now for living expenses, this is one of the most important sections. Oh, you're gonna have to pay a lot of attention to this particular section, because it's gonna define how much you spend and how much you'll actually be given by the university. So again, all this is 2020, year 2020. You need to just gather all the financial documents that I told you about, all of your taxes, all of your bills, and then just start like making additions, just trying to come up with numbers that reflect how much you spend in utilities. For example, that's water, electricity, heat. For us, it would be also like gas natural. You just add all of that. Then food, you can make an approximation. Of course, it's it doesn't need to be exact, but just use, I don't know, your credit card bills, or yeah, just try to come up with an accurate estimate of how much you spend in food during the entire year. Then clothing, same thing. If you have your credit card statements which reflect how much you spend in clothing, that's probably more helpful. It's going to be more accurate. Household necessities, this would be everything like cleaning supplies, I don't know, reparations or reforms that you need to make, automobile maintenance. If you have an automobile, you should also put a value in there. Property insurance, I think this is very important. You should, if you have property insurance, you should also put that number. Holiday expenses, of course, last year was a particular year, so if you still had holiday expenses, just put them in again. Entertainment expenses, again, everything's pretty self-explanatory, but I think like we need to make sure that your values actually make sense, so they're as accurate as possible. Because if universities see that, for example, your holiday expenses are above your food expenses, they will see a problem here. They will sense a problem, because if you're spending more in holidays than in food, they're probably one of two, like they're thinking of maybe you're financially responsible and would not be able to afford college in the US, or that you filed the CSS profile in a wrong way. So just make sure that everything is coherent. Try to keep that as accurate as possible. Do not come up with arbitrary numbers. Always have some sort of backup in case you are requested for those documents. So try not to be arbitrary in that sense. For number of people in your family employed in the home, in case you have, this is very rare. I know that a lot of people in Argentina particularly, they hire cleaners who go to your house and they clean. My guess would be that as long as they're not, I think it's a whole different conception than in the US. So my advice would be, make sure that it's still coherent to your situation. Because if they see that you have lots of financial need, but they see you have 5 people employed in your home, that will also not make sense. So if you have someone who, I don't know, comes and, I don't know, trims your garden every once in a while, your family is just, it's not actually employing them, because it's not an employment status. So just make sure to keep that coherent. Same for amount of money owed to other people or financial institutions. If you took any loans, make sure to explain those loans. For example, my family took a loan to refurbish our home, just like painting and other minor just minor repairs and stuff. Then the amount paid for any other expenses not listed above, that's also really useful in case you have, for example, my mom and I use public transportation a lot. So when I was in school, when I was in high school, I used to use the bus to go to high school pretty often. So that would be a big expense, or a considerable expense. So you should also add that for anything. If it's not public transportation, you can use, I don't know, there are people who support their grandparents, families who give money to their relatives. There are lots of expenses that might not be listed in the as living expenses for by the CSS, but you have the choice to add them. And if they actually help your case, your financial aid case, you should always add them, especially if they're considerable amounts of money. So we're getting to the end of the CSS profile. After we file all of your parents' information and your household information, we're actually going to go for the student information. Most of us in Argentina, most high school students will not file taxes, will not be legally working. So that would mean en blanco. If you have a job, it's probably not in blanco, or it's by a program, it's an internship, it's unpaid. So first of all, as always, your tax status should be not filed and not required to file a tax return. Then for the student non-filer, that's going to be your status, and you're going to feel, for example, I didn't work in high school, just formally work, such as being employed and having a wage. So I just put 0 on everything. And then for summer expected income and benefits, you should also put 0 in everything, just because you don't know what's going to happen next summer. So for example, these like I was given by my college a stipend to work on campus, and then I will get my own salary but that's going to change the whole thing in the future. You know, I didn't know that I was going to get a work study allotment when I was applying to college. I didn't know if I was ever going to get like if a college accepted me. I didn't know what the financial aid package was going to look like. So I think you should leave everything down to zero, and then universities can choose to actually give you a summer or a job doing on campus. But you should leave everything in zero unless you're really sure that you're gonna have a job this summer, an income, all of that. But if you're not, just leave it blank, and then the university will figure out a plan for you to come up with a work study allotment. But that's a whole other deal. Then for student resources, again, remember that this takes into account the official dollar. So do not be confident and just put like a ton of money that your parents are expected to give you. Just try to keep it modest, because universities will use that number and then give you some less of that. So what I would say, okay, this part is really important because it's basically going to define how much you're going to pay. So it's kind of weird, right? That you're being asked all of these questions, all of your expenses, and now they're saying, how much are you expecting to pay? So I would say just go with a number that makes sense. Again, everything about the CSS is coherent. So be coherent with your previous statements. So if your family has this amount of money saved and this amount of expenses and I don't know, this amount of debt, just come up with a number, talk with your parents about it, just file this, keeping in mind that you will have to pay this number and that it's an official conversion of the dollar price, and it's probably gonna be around that price. So just come up with a number that, for example, if your family can pay, I don't know, $2,000, try to see like how much is, I don't know, $1,500 to the official price, and then try to come up with a number between the range of 1,500 and 2,000, between like a range between that. Just like try to go for $1,500 less, or because universities will then analyze all of the CSS and they will give you their own expected contribution. So if you go for, I don't know, 1,500 and they end up giving you $2,000, you'll be fine, because that's why you were originally expecting to pay. So scholarships or grants, you're probably not receiving that unless it's like a very specific case. Then your employer, your parents' employers will probably not give you tuition benefits. And you have relatives who I know a lot of people help their relative students who are applying to college. So if you have, I don't know, like any type of relative that is helping you with college, you should also add that. And then for international student benefits, in my particular case, I was part of the Opportunity Funds cohort last year, so they helped me pay for my flight, and so I just made sure to mention that in the last section, how will they pay for transportation to the US? I just mentioned agency foundation funds, and then I also made that clear in the special circumstances section. Again, assets, real estate, business and farms. I don't know any of that, so I just left everything blank and on zero. So now we're in the special circumstances section. I think it's really important to write something. Even if you don't think you need to write something, just write something. Because at the end of the day, it's gonna help you. It's gonna help the financial aid department at your college understand where you're coming from and how much you're actually able to afford, right? So for my special circumstances section, I explained the situation of Argentina with the earning tax and the solidarity tax. If I were applying to college today, again, with the knowledge that I have now, I would have written way fewer words. So I would have just wrote like a sentence about it, because I really explained myself and I really gave a full-blown insight on the economic situation in Argentina, and they're probably not familiar with that. So it's a lot of words. It's like a block of text. My advice now, I'm giving you what I wrote, but my advice would be keep it short, try to keep it as concise as possible, and always making sure to let the financial aid officer at your college, at the college you're applying to, know what's going on here. So I would have, I would have went with like a way smaller description. And also in the last paragraph, I made sure to just mention that I'm an opportunity fund student. So Education USA would be paying for my airplane ticket. Just, I don't know, I made sure to mention that just in case. Okay, so once your CSS profile is complete, you can choose the universities that you're applying to. So you can choose the name of the universities, and then you can choose if you're applying early admission, early action, or regular admission. And then once your CSS profile is complete and you're all set and you send it, you'll be able to access iDoc. iDoc, do not worry about it. You will get it eventually. I was worried about that because I was like, what, a new website? I'm really confused right now. But at the end, it was just like a normal website where you just add extra documents. Don't stress about it. It's really intuitive. You just like have your own profile you access through the CSS profile website, and then you just can submit your wage statements, which can be your recibo de sueldo, your employer letters, which is a letter signed by your parents' employers. And then it says, I don't know, I certify that this parent's name has worked in my company for I don't know how many years, in X role, making a yearly salary of I don't know how many pesos. So just make sure you have that too. If you have non-custodial parent waivers, that's you can also upload them here. It's non-custodial parent waivers are for when you only receive financial assistance from one parent. These are extraordinary circumstances under which you can apply. And just make sure to research that because it can get really difficult just to sort through the whole process. They just want to make sure that you're not cheating your way into the process. So just there are a lot of documents, not a lot, but I would say that it's pretty just pretty document heavy, so to speak. So just make sure to contact your financial aid departments at your desired universities just to let them know, hey, I would like to request a non-custodial parent waiver for the CSS profile. Do you know how that works? Do you know what documents I need to submit? And then they will give you their own requirements for the non-custodial parent waivers. So now the ISFAA. Now that we've been through the CSS profile, we still need to look at the ISFAA, but I think it's not, I think that the ISFAA is pretty intuitive in the sense that it's the CSS profile in paper. So it's transferred to paper. So just complete your CSS profile first, just file that, and then you go with your ISFAA. So, but there are still some things to be aware of, which are the section 10, which is listed below the name of the college and universities. I would say that the best choice here would be saving a general copy of the ISFAA and then making individual copies for each university, modifying section 10. So for example, if you want to apply to, I don't know, Grinnell College, University of Rochester, Reed College, and I don't know, Iowa University. You just save a general copy of the ISFAA, and then you create a new copy using that same copy. You create a new document, and in section 10, you just put Grinnell College. And then you make a new individual copy and you put Reed College, a new copy, and you put University of Rochester. Just for the sake of your privacy, and also universities shouldn't really know to which colleges you're also applying to. It's just like more of a privacy. It's mostly a matter of privacy. And always use PDFs. That's your file format, and that should be consistent, and it always should be PDF because it's going to be an universal format. Also, remember that the ISFAA is filed in US dollars. So you need to make the exchange rate. You need to put that in. This is an example of last year when I was applying to college. The exchange rate was 142.11 pesos equals $1. That was the solidarity dollar exchange rate. So then, of course, the ISFAA needs fresh signatures, which that is the name of the documents that need to be printed, signed, and then scanned again. So just make sure to print that and sign it and then scan it again. And if you need to add any extra information, just add it as special circumstances and just attach it to at the end of your ISFAA. So a tool that was very helpful to me was I Love PDF. It's a website. You're probably aware of it, but just in case you're not, just Google I Love PDF. It's super helpful in the sense that it helped me just separate PDF files and then merge them and then convert from a Word document to PDF. And it's really helpful. It's really going to help you handling all these PDFs and all these files and all these documents during your financial aid process, which can be a lot. But yeah, if you need any special circumstances or employer letters or anything that you want to add to your ISFAA, just make sure to add it at the end with and still in PDF. So the whole document should be sent as a PDF. Great. So that was it. That was the CSS and the ISFAA. So some explanations about it. It can be daunting just to see the amount of things that you're required to file, but trust me, it's not that big of a deal when you're actually in front of it. Just make sure to have all of your documents in hand, just your financial documents, your bills, your statements, your parents' salary wage statements or employer letters. Make sure to keep up a consistent application. Just pay attention to the minor details. And yeah, do not stress about it. You still have time. It's not, since it opens on October 1st, now it's the time to start gathering all of your files. Do not leave it for the last day. Trust me, you'll be way more stressed in November. If you have to file, I don't know, early decision, and you're gonna be working with your essays, with your exams, with your SATs if you're taking those, with your TOEFL exams. So trust me, just do it ASAP. It just start if it opens on October 1st, by October 2nd, just start going through it. Do not file it in less than an A. Just take your time at the same time, but do not leave it for the last day. Just do not procrastinate on it, because it's gonna be a hassle then, and you're really gonna regret leaving it for the last day. So make sure to always check on your university's requirements. This is really important. Some universities do not accept the CSS profile. They only accept the ISFAA. Some universities have their own financial documents. So you should also make sure of that. Yeah, just make sure to keep at least like a spreadsheet or like on paper, just keep track of your each university's requirements, just because there are so many universities in the US and so many options and so many different ways to send your financial aid documents. And I think like this is the most unbearable part of the application process, if anything, just because it's the less exciting part. Just finances, boo, like nobody likes to do it. But it's gonna be really helpful at the end when you are receiving your scholarship, and it's actually an amount of money that your family can actually pay for. So yeah, just my advice would be, just do not procrastinate on it, and just keep track of all of your university's requirements and start gathering your documents, because it's never too late.